Rahul, thanks for sparing some of your time to talk to us. Can I ask firstly how significant it is that India has sent a full cabinet minister this year to the Shangri-La dialogue?
It is significant. This is the first time that the Modi government has sent a full cabinet minister for defense, Manohar Parrikar, and I think it indicates the growing importance for India of our Shangri-La dialogue. At the same time, it also suggests that this is now the implementation part of the Indian Prime Minister's Act East policy. And Defense Minister Manohar Parrikar's presence and participation here is again a key factor for that in terms of the message it has for the other countries in the region.
So what did you pick as the highlights from his speech?
The Defense Minister spoke about three major security challenges for India. The first two were focused on territorial disputes that had an escalatory mechanism. The second was on terrorism, which is an important element of India's concerns. But he focused a lot and he spent most of his time on the third security challenge, which was on the maritime domain. And he essentially, I think, drew our attention to the importance of the maritime sphere for this government, for his government. And in particular, not only the Indian Ocean, but the importance of the South China Sea as well.
If I can just look back in history for a moment, the first Shangri-La dialogue was focused largely on the threat of an Indo-Pakistan war. How has the relationship between those two countries moved on over the past 14 years?
Well, the good news is that they haven't had a conflict with each other since 2001, 2002, when tensions were very high. The bad news is that at the moment they're still not talking to each other formally in terms of any peace dialogue. But in between, there have been some highs and lows. What we're seeing today is that the new Indian government of Prime Minister Modi, which came into office 2 years ago, attempted an outreach to Pakistan to engage with Pakistan, but there was a recent terror attack in India carried out by Pakistani nationals. At the moment, Delhi is frustrated with Pakistan for not taking action against the leaders of that terrorist group. And until there is some resolution on this issue, it is unlikely that the formal peace dialogue between India and Pakistan will resume. And it was very interesting what the defense minister said today when he mentioned, which was a surprise, but he mentioned that the window of opportunity was closing between India and Pakistan. I'm not sure whether it is actually closing or not, but I think the sense is that he was expressing his frustration and the frustration of the Indian government against the Pakistani government for a lack of action against the perpetrators of the terror attack in early January in India.
Just finally, can I ask what you make of the growing relationship between India and the United States?
This is something that has really taken off in the last 2 years since Prime Minister Modi came into office. He is now on his fourth visit to the US. The relationship between the two have started converging in areas of security issues, particularly on maritime security. So when earlier today the US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter talked about the US rebalance to the east, he linked it up with the Indian Prime Minister's Act East policy. And I think what we're seeing today, which we haven't seen for a very, very long time in India-US relations, is a convergence of security interests in the region. Having said that, Delhi still has China as its largest neighbor. It is still concerned over China's assertiveness, but it will need to balance the relationship that it is developing with the United States with the relationship that it has with China to ensure that it is not seen by China as trying to counter or contain it.
Rahul, lovely to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you.